Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Joe and Martin Show. Today I'm here with the High Priestess, so can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm the High Priestess. Levi, I really don't care what you call me. You know,
Yeah.
all the same thing. But yes, a lot of people do know me as a High Priestess.
How did all of that start?
Like the name?
Yeah.
So I was vending at the flea market as always.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't have social media. I never had social media, so I've been doing it for 5 years. 5 years. And then a bunch of my customers, like the younger ones, they were like, hey, like you should really have social media.
Mm-hmm.
And like I mentioned earlier, like I don't have social media. I was just kind of like, no, like I don't want to go back. It's not my vibe. Like I really don't care. And then, yeah, I was just like, well, whatever, fuck it. Oh, can I curse?
Yeah, go for it. Don't worry.
Okay. I was like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. I guess like I'll make social media for like work. I think it'd be cool for I guess like the younger people because a lot of my clients are like.
Are younger people?
No.
Oh, they're older people.
Older people. I mean,
oh wow.
My business is like a flea market business.
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to vend at like DIY venues and all of that sort of stuff. I've always said I was like, if anything ever goes down, like. I literally don't care because I have the flea market. Like, that's where, if we're talking money, business, it is a business. That's where my money comes from. And what was the question?
Just
my
like
name.
Your name and how everything started. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So, I had a couple of names in mind. For a second, I was going to be the culture, la cultura, but in Spanish, la cultura.
La cultura.
And I wanted it to be in Spanish because my business is a flea market business.
Yeah.
But then I told one of my friends at Mac, I was like, hey, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, well, you have La Cultura coffee shop. Fuck them though. And then I was like, oh shit, you're right. And then I'm not like a tarot reader. I don't like tarot personally. Me personally, don't cancel me. And I was just messing around and then I was looking at the cards, and for some reason, the High Priestess was really like standing out to me, which is a card of like wisdom, justice, knowledge, and it's something that I really stand for. Mm-hmm. And I had it there, and I was just like, you know what, this really does stick. Like I can really relate to this.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept it, and
it's worked well because like whenever on Instagram you see like that little blue the image, I'm like it's
yeah. Well, I actually have a new logo.
For reals?
I just haven't fully released it. 44 Water Lilies, Ale, she did it for me like November, but I love it. I just haven't published it. I also want to come out with stickers.
Where did the older logo come from?
It's the original tarot deck card.
Oh, okay.
It's just the High Priestess herself. It's like the original one because there's like other ones like whatever the theme is, but no, that's the original one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got that image, and then how did you start like branding yourself? Because, like, I guess like when people think of you, I'm pretty sure they had like all the mysterious stuff. I don't know how you would describe your I guess the stuff you vend.
Yeah,
because there's like there's a lot of spiritual stuff to it.
Yeah, it's a very spiritual booth. I love it. But how did I start?
Was there a specific reason why you chose that stuff?
Like, how did I start? Is that your question?
I guess, like, what made you start vending that specifically, like, all the spiritual stuff?
Well, I guess we can just ask the question, like, how did I start? Because essentially, that would be easier to answer. I was actually just fresh out of high school. I was babysitting for, like, a stripper.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, I was babysitting her kid. And she would leave from, like, 11 at night, come back to like 8 in the morning. And at the time I was like 18, and like during that time she lived like right next to the flea market in Alamo, and I started going. Then I became friends with a lady there who sold that same stuff, and we became friends. I would visit her every time like that I worked for the stripper, and I would always buy her stuff. One time she was like, hey, would you like to like work for me?
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, that'd be pretty dope. Like, I love the stuff here. I think it'd be a vibe, and it'd be like easy because I'm already doing
Near
that
mirror,
shit.
yes.
I just move on to this one, and it was just from like 8 to like she would let me leave early, like at 2.
8 to 2, okay.
Yeah, but now thinking about it, it was like over a 12-hour shift. But I was 18, so it's like now I'm like 42, so it's like no, I could never. Yeah, and then I worked with her for a couple of years, and then just recently, I think like a year and a half ago, she stopped working. She didn't die. She stopped working. Yeah, she stopped working. She retired, but all that knowledge she gave me, like, it's funny though because I have my madrina, which is my godmother for that's ooky spooky stuff, and then I had her, and I mean she taught me more of like the lighter stuff, which is what I carry. Lately, I have been trying to carry more traditional stuff, like truly traditional stuff. But yeah, she's the one who taught me like the ins and outs of like being a flea market vendor, how to like honestly handle the heat.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, like peak of June, people are dying. Like I remember when I started doing pop-up markets, people were like, I can't vend. I am gonna die. And like I was like, it's not that hot. But you know, just simple things like that, how to manage my money as well, how to make sure I'm getting like good deals on inventory, like what is a good deal, what is standard price, without having to ask or go look at other like vendors.
Yeah,
so she taught me all of that. She's the one who really like gave me the layout of, you know,
the business.
Yeah, and honestly, yeah, she's so cool. She's a little racist, but I love her.
How did you like find out about like vendors? Because that's one thing I've always been curious about. Like when it comes to like the flea markets, like I heard that people buy stuff in bulk and then they resell it.
Flea markets?
Yeah, that's what I have heard. Like people buy stuff in bulk and then.
Well, you heard wrong.
For reals?
No. Well, you have all sorts of vendors. Like at flea market wise, you have people. So like if we're talking, there's multiple flea markets. Every single flea market is completely different. You have something like Palmview Flea Market, which is more like family based. It's like mostly people who, oh hey, I need to go like sell a bunch of the stuff that we just want to get rid of. Yeah. And then they go and sell it over there. And then you have something like Valverde Flea Market, which is more like food resellers, but like not like bulk packaging. Like stuff that you might be like, oh, this is like house stuff, kind of like Palmview. Yeah. But no, that's bulk. That's more homey, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's not necessarily like new products. And then you have people in Alamo, which I always tell everyone. I was like, dude, I fucking hate Alamo Flea Market. It's super overpriced. No, it is overpriced. And it is like for sure like that type of flea market where it's all resellers, like bulk resellers, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. I don't get why people are currently like shit talking like drop shippers, but whatever. Yeah, no, but that's mostly what Alamo Flea Market is. Like a lot of like bulk resellers, couponers.
That flea market in particular seems to be doing well because they remodeled a lot of their buildings.
Yeah, we fucking hate it.
Real?
A lot of the vendors hate it, and they raise the rent on us. So like, fuck you, Alamo Flea Market. But also like, don't kick me out because like I do really good.
Yeah, because I was always curious because before like it was like once it rains like it gets really muddy so nobody would go, but now that there's like cement.
Oh yeah, no. So something like Valverde Flea Market, if it like fucking pours, dude, even lightly rains, you're fucked. Like your car is not getting out of there, dude. And something like Alamo, yeah, we have the back parking that still gets muddy, but we have like a really big parking lot that's fully like cemented. And then Palmview, they're decent, but yeah, no, with Alamo Flea Market, they remodeled it because apparently the owner is trying to copy his friend from San Antonio or some shit like that. And he has it like the new remodelings where it's like storage units. Yeah. But a lot of people don't like it because they're too like apart. Oh, okay. So like people don't like to do double runs or get too close because then they feel like they have to buy. So it's really backfiring on a lot of those vendors. A lot of those vendors are like dropping their storage unit because they're just not making ends meet.
That's interesting. I never thought like how that would affect. I thought it would be like better for businesses because like, hey, now it's more spaced out and I can.
Yeah, the people who are thriving there are like phone companies like T-Mobile, Cricket, Metro.
All the corporate stuff.
Yeah, like the corporate shut. Yeah, the corporate people are like thriving there because at least people who do have those companies, they can just easily go to the flea market, you know, get their Speedo Papa, and then pay their phone bill cash because a lot of them don't, you know.
It's kind of funny how it seemed like a DIY type stuff, and then the corporate started going in there.
I tell everyone, I was like, dude, Alamo Flea Market is very corporate.
Yeah.
And then they kind of laugh, and I'm like, no, you think about it. Like, we have like security, we have like sectors of security,
Yeah.
we have employees that do not leave certain areas. They have their higher ups. Like, it is corporate, and like when you do get a booth in Alamo, like it is by contract.
All for reals.
It is by contract. They have like essentially your ID. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So it is a corporate flea market now. Something like Valverde Flea Market or Palm View. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's
just like, you want a booth for the month? All right, we have this one. You can take it.
And how do they like? Is like the rent? I guess charge monthly. It's monthly, right? Or how does it charge?
It's by the month. So Alamo is the most expensive one. Alamo is, I am paying a total for my booth, which is like the Chito one.
Yeah.
It's not like a garage looking one, storage one. It's a Chito one. I pay, I forgot, 176. It's 176, I think. Yeah, I pay 176 a month, and then the storage units they pay, I believe, like $250. Some of them, the ones outside, they pay like $400 a month.
Damn. Yeah, they're making bank.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like how, I guess when it comes to like all these like stuff, like how do you incorporate the prices of, I guess you have to deal with your rentals, the rental fee, whatever, I guess labor, and then like the cost of your product. How do you like formulate a price? That's what I always got curious about.
Yeah, that's really fun. So like I mentioned earlier, like what the lady taught me, I was like, how do you set a price to an item without having, because we weren't the type to like be sneaky and send people over there to check on other people's prices. I really don't fuck with that. So it was always kind of like, I spoke to one of my distributors and I was like, how do I do that? And then he was like, well, what do you think is fair? Like, but while you're still making money to pay your rent, your housing, your like bills and this and that, like what is a fair price? And are you getting a good enough price? So I think that's something that I have an upper hand on a lot of people, whether it's at the flea market or like vendors, because at the end of the day, I am working like 5 times a week. So I do have that constant flow of like selling. If I don't sell it here, I'm going to sell it there, but the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, it is really like, you also have to keep in mind like, what is a standard price for something? So like something like sage, I had it at $5, but then I ended up buying a really like insane amount. If I'm being honest, I think I bought like 1,000 pieces of sage. Wow. But that managed to drop the price like crazy.
Yeah.
Because now I'm buying in big bulk quantities. And I know one of my distributors, he had it at $3. And I got it at a price to where I can drop it at $3. And essentially like knock out all competition while still making like
money. Yeah, because people think it's just about the price, but there's also profit percentages.
Yeah,
like people like, let's say like, let's talk about merch for example. Like,
and like that's something that people don't like to hear. Like customers, and I get it because you know maybe it rubs you the wrong way. Yeah, I still have to. If you want this fantasy, I still have to pay my bills. You know.
Yeah. Like you have to cover all your basic needs.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just facts.
No, yeah, because there's like when it comes to the merch, people. Well, some people know, but like a shirt for example, it costs more. But you actually make less compared to like, let's say you sell stickers, where you sell a sticker for $1, but like it costs
stickers are a really good profit. They have really good.
Like they say, they cost like 5 cents to make it. You're making more money off the sticker, even though it costs way less than a shirt. But the profit percentage is just bigger.
Yeah. So like sage, when I had it at $5, my spiritual water is at $5, but my spiritual water has. My spiritual water has like a crazy amount of like percentage
Mm-hmm.
compared to like profit percentage compared to my sage,
Mm-hmm.
because my sage is the standard price. But like when I do, they're both the same price.
Mm-hmm.
But when I sell spiritual water, it's better because there is a higher profit margin.
Yeah,
Even though they're the same price.
That's always interesting for me because like recently I've been bitching the show Shark Tank.
Oh yeah.
And like they always talk about like all like the different percentages. I'm like, damn, like I wonder how that works here with the scene and all that stuff. Cause
Yeah, that's another thing. Like whenever I started, when I stepped in the scene, I guess.
yeah,
I kind of spoke to people, and I was like, "How much do you make on average, like
Mhm.
vending?" And they would tell me, "I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you." I'm allowed.
you just
Is it stupid? I think it's kind of stupid, but maybe people won't like it. I don't know.
yeah,
And I was like, "That's not enough.
yeah,
Like, you cannot sell this and then go home and be happy, because at the end of the day, let's say we're just gonna exaggerate. You
Mhm.
sold $100, but the vendor fee was $50. It's never $50.
Yeah.
If you're paying $50, you're fucking crazy. But like, if the vendor fee is $50
Mhm.
and you go home with $100, you made your vendor profit, your vendor fee back.
yeah. You covered it back.
But you did sell $50 in total then.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to cut that in half because that's, your
You to cover.
price.
Yeah, the price.
The price of your item. So then let's just say you drop to $25. You're going home with $25 after working for like 6 hours. That's not ideal.
Yeah,
That's not ideal. So I always told everyone, I was like, dude, minimum you have to make at least 200 to be
Mhm.
happy, to go home and be like, okay, this business
This is a
is
good
giving
thing.
me something to work with. Like if I like use those 200 and feed it into profit, like
Mhm.
items, it'll double itself, triple itself maybe if I
Mhm.
get a good price on items. And then people kind of started like getting that idea, and I've seen them and they've been doing so much more better. Like they understand that whenever they make less than X amount, they're like, I fucked up, this was not good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to pricing, a lot of them would just be like, oh, they're $12, like the earrings, we'll say. And then I was like, what if you do 12 or 2 for 20?
Okay.
You know what I mean? People like that more.
People like deals. I don't know
People
why.
like deals. And then people were like, you're right. And then they would sell more because now you're giving a deal while you're still getting a really good profit margin.
Yeah.
So,
The psychology of people is always interesting. That's why I got into advertising because
yeah.
it's it's like that meme where it's just like where it has like the price tag where it says 300 and then the other one says 300, but on top it says like slash 600 or whatever. People are like,
Yeah.
oh wow, it's a good deal. I'm like,
Yeah, it's literally the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the thing with vendors that I guess fed a new point of view,
mm-hmm.
and they kind of get it, and I feel like they are doing better. I'm not taking credit because of course it's also their hard work and
Oh yeah,
all of that, but I'm really glad that people are kind of like seeing it more as a business instead of just like, oh, I'm vending, because yeah, that's fun. And like, I mean, I love vending, I love seeing everyone, like I genuinely get excited, but at the end of the day, what I do is a business.
Yeah.
And I have
And
to,
you have to
like,
take care
I
of
gotta pay
yourself.
my rent shit, so
no, I agree, and that's what I always told like the bands I work with, especially the younger guys.
yeah.
Like, yes, it's about having fun, and a lot of artists say like, oh, I don't do it for the money, but like, hey, your equipment costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're learning a skill, like you're improving your skills as you do it every show and all that stuff. Like, make sure you pay yourself fairly, like price yourself fairly when it comes to all these fees, because
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, I agree with that. And before I would see, I guess if you really want to be doing it for fun and you're blessed enough to like, have that financial stability, that's great. But at the end of the day, you got to be making money.
yeah,
It's not just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to lose money and then
Yeah.
sell this, but not really be making any profit.
yeah, it's tough out there.
Yeah.
And then well, I guess did we discuss how you got into like the spiritual? Oh, wait, yeah, you said the lady helped you out.
Dude, I like derail completely all the
No,
time.
don't worry. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah, I know.
Because even with the other podcasts, like we talk about like music for the first couple of like minutes, whatever, and that's when it just derails to like so many different conversations.
Yeah, I know.
And I honestly prefer that because it's a natural conversation.
No, yeah, for sure. And the good thing about it is that I love talking. So
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity because like I never like I seen you around, but like I never like it's hard to talk with vendors because you guys are selling stuff, and
yeah,
I don't like bothering people like when they're selling stuff.
okay.
It feels like I'm intruding.
Not unless you buy.
What?
I'm like, not unless you buy.
Yeah, there you go.
You don't have to. Yeah, no, I don't mind. I love when people stop by, say hi. Honestly, I even tell them, like, it's like, dude, if you see me at the flea market, if you see me vending somewhere, you don't have to buy anything. Like, I hate it. I genuinely hate it when people stop by and buy something, but I can tell they're like, I feel like they're forcing themselves to buy something. Which, yeah, maybe at the end of the day they do like that item, but the purchase doesn't seem genuine. And I'm like, dude, just stop by, say hi, talk for a bit. You don't have to buy. You don't have to be a customer. I know I said it's a business at the end of the day, but still, I genuinely like a lot of these people that come up to me and say hi at like events and shit like that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. What kind of experiences have you had dealing with people? I'm pretty sure you had like normal conversations, but then there's also like
vendors or like
just dealing with customers because like people deal like with retail. So I wonder how it is with you like working at the flea market.
So whenever we're dealing with like, I guess my more mature crowd at the flea market, my customer base over there, it gets very personal. It gets very personal, especially like that I practice santeria. There's a lot of customers who are like, well, esta pinche vieja vino a mi casa y se estaba echando a mi novio. ¿Qué le puedo hacer? And then I'm like, man, like, I don't need to know details. I don't need to know this. But then again, I do like knowing details because that shit's fucking funny.
It's funny.
But no, dude, I've heard wild stories at the flea market. Like, some of them probably illegal stories, but like, they're a vibe.
Yeah.
And then vendor-wise, I guess within the scene, no one's been crazy. I guess as soon as they hear that like I do santeria, everyone immediately wants a reading, and I find that kind of annoying.
For reals?
I do.
Is there a reason for that, or?
Because I guess in a form like I carry myself as me. My spirituality is kind of like second. You know what I mean? But then once I see that they're kind of like constantly nagging, like, hey, give me a reading. It's like, no, I'm more than just here to give you fucking readings, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. Like, okay, now it's my turn to get in trouble.
Yeah. And then
there's certain people like who like come up to me and say like they'll always ask for something, but like they'll never want like a genuine conversation. They just like, oh, you're this person. Yeah. Can you do this for me?
Yeah.
And you feel more like a tool rather than a person.
Yeah, I guess that's a better explanation.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you can ask questions about spirituality with me. I love talking about my point of view, this and that. But I guess it really does irk me when people just see you as that and they don't care to like expand.
I know what you mean.
More of who you are.
I'm making sure I don't end up on Instagram again.
No, it's fine.
No. But okay, so like, what are your views on spirituality? Out of curiosity, because that's one of the things I did want to discuss with you.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about the spooky stuff.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Oh, is anything honestly like what are your views? I guess let's start off with what are your views with like santeria and like and all that other stuff. Like what is all this stuff?
What is santeria?
Yeah,
santeria proviene de like Africa essentially.
Yeah.
And then it moved on to Cuba. And then it moved on to Mexico. So now you have Mexican santeria. I personally don't really like Mexican santeria. We practice Cuban santeria.
What are the differences?
Saints and how they treat them and how they like certain stories. They don't really correlate into other versions of the religion, which is la religión dorula. So African santeria is very different. Obviously, there is a whole other language than Cuban santeria, and same thing with Mexican and Cubans. Like, yeah, they're both, I guess, southern countries, but like it's not the same vibe. Santeria, I don't know. Like, what do you want to know?
Just like what is like, I guess what's like, how what would be a good question?
It doesn't have to do. A lot of people think tea, but
Because from my understanding, it was like a combination of like African spirituality and like Catholicism, something like that.
In a form, in a way, yes. A lot of the stories that we do have, they do kind of correlate to like Catholicism
with a mix of like African spirituality. It's like some kind of mix. That's what I've heard.
It's a really good mixture, I guess, a blend, if you will.
Yeah, because the only like experience I heard was like, this is gonna sound funny, but like there's a comedian named Joey Diaz, and sometimes he talks about that because he's Cuban. I think he's Cuban or something like that. Like he associates with a lot of Cubans. And he would like talk about that stuff, like how there's different saints and they each had like different meanings to it. And
yes, so we have like Yemaya, we have Oshun, we have Orula, we have Alegua, we have a lot of them. Like it's not just one.
Yeah, there's multiple ones. Yeah, how do you like in Catholicism, you so people get like assigned saints. Is it the same thing with that or no?
Yes, you do get assigned an assigned saint, if you will, a goddess. They're called orishas. So a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, that's the goddess Oshun, goddess blah blah. They're not goddesses, they're orishas. And it's a whole ceremony. So like in order for you to partake in like the religion, you have to be tienes que hacer tu ceremonia. You know, like it's not just like oh yeah, I'm gonna buy the little bracelet and like I'm part of the religion. No, like you have to know your babalaos, your madrinos, padrinas. Like it's a whole thing, and it's not just like oh hey, I did the part of the ceremony. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. No, like a monthly thing is to like worship these things. To make sure you are in good terms, because if you're not in good terms, it's really bad. It's really bad.
Is there like a specific way of how they're assigned to you? Because like I know, like, and I want to compare it to like astrology, but like astrology is based on like your months. Is there like a way where it's like each saint's assigned to you based on like some kind of like traits or?
Yes. So, like me, my Orisha is Oshun. So characteristics with people who are under Oshun's guard is money.
Okay.
Long hair. So if you are a son of like Yemaya and Oshun, you have to take care of your hair. Your hair is sacred from here on. Yeah. Like you cannot be doing bad things to it. You cannot bleach it. You cannot dye. You cannot really even be cutting it.
Oh wow.
What are other traits? Oh, this one's a sad one. So if you're si eres hijo o hija de Oshun, your love life is gonna be fucking trash. But you will be happy financially because Oshun is the owner of like all the gold in the world. So naturally that is abundant to you. But your love life
to be rough.
It's gonna be rough. A lot of them actually, they never do have a love life. So that's why whenever I was like, oh, like, who is it gonna be? They're like, oh, Shun. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that explains a lot.
How does a person like? How do you figure out like what?
Oh yeah, how do you figure out?
Right? Yeah. Who's
so you have your ceremony. It's a 3-day process. I don't want to get too much into it. Yeah. But I'll be like very vague about it. But your first day, it's essentially your relaxing day. You could have a little getaway. A lot of us do like to get secluded, like go on our own, turn off our phones, grab food that we love. We don't really go out of our room. And you just have a day to yourself. Make sure you're not stressed out. There's no like stress in your life. By that time, you have to like have like no debts. If that's stressing you out, you cannot be associated with people who stress you out, who bring you negativity in your life. That's another reason why I'm like super like easy with like cutting off people, or like if I see you and I don't vibe with you,
you can easily cut them off.
I just don't care. Like you might think I'm a dick, but it's just that I'm not interested because I already know. But that's the first day, right? So you have a day of like just on your own vibe, really chilling, relaxing, watching movies, doing your own thing, whatever relaxes you and brings you happiness. Okay. Second day. So that's when you get your babalaos. Babalaos are priests.
Okay.
So you get your babalaos. There's usually like 2, 3, maybe 4. Like I mentioned to you, there was 3 at my house.
Yeah.
Well, at my madrina's house recently. And they're the ones who will essentially like bless you into the religion. That's una ceremonia.
Yeah. The passage of right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have to have a madrina and padrina. So these people are the ones who are going to guide you in life. Like, obviously, once you go into the religion, you're going to learn all these beautiful tricks on, like, how to, like, do readings, how to, like, sense things, how to work things, how to, like, do the ooky spooky magic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they're the ones who are going to teach you. So you have your ceremony. I don't want to get too into it because it's very, like...
Yeah, I don't want to get you in some kind of trouble.
No, it's not even in trouble. It's just... In Santeria, we don't really, like... There's not a lot of books. There's not a lot of, like, recordings or anything. It's, like, a very private thing.
Yeah.
I was just talking about it with my friend Kat. And she was like, dude, that is so true. Because she does, like... Well, my friends Kat and Idalia, love them. They do Reiki, which is, like, a whole other thing. I don't even know what it is. Because I don't really do it. I don't do it. So, I can't speak on it. But they were like, dude, you're right. There is no, like, Santeria books, hardly ever. There's a bunch of Reiki books. Yeah. There's a bunch of, like, curandero books. But, like, Santeria is not, like...
It's really private.
Yeah, it's a very private thing. A lot of, like, tips and tricks and knowledge is essentially passed down from, like, madrino, padrina to tu ahijado. So, you have your ceremony. Your babalaos have to be there. Our babalaos are from Cuba. There's 3 of them. They travel everywhere. I don't know how the fuck they do it. I don't know how the fuck they get there. Damn. But they're fucking dope. I love them. They're super sweet. And, yeah, that you have your ceremony the second day. It can take a long time. It could be like a 2-3 hour. And it's fucking expensive. Even if you're family to them, out of respect, you have to pay them. And typically depends on the area that you're in. Who's doing it, how many babalaos you have that are going to be there present. It could usually range from like 1,400. Okay. And then if you go more upstate, of course it could be more. But preferably try to keep it like with people you know. Because like let's say like you right like you don't have no connections, you have no knowledge. That's what I was gonna ask.
Is there a way to tell like if they're legitimate or not? Like,
well, there's a lot of people who do scam.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I've heard. We were talking to one of our babalaos recently, where he was like, "Yeah, apparently there was someone in Ciudad de Mexico who was like, I can give your ceremony over like FaceTime." Oh. Yeah, and then the people like I feel bad, but they like went. He it wasn't him. It was another person. This was a story that he heard, and people would pay him X amount of money. And they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm part of the religion," but it's not something you can just do. This is like it has to.
Is there a way is there like a verification of like their positions or status?
Yes, you are gifted 3 items.
Okay,
even more items once you do other ceremonies. But you're gifted 3, which are the orishas, which those are the ones who you're supposed to tienes que atenderlos like monthly, and some of them like los atiendes como a las 3 de la mañana. Some of them are like on specific days of the week. Like it's a whole thing. Y ya depende like what house you're in. That they have these certain rules on how to like attend these items.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and those represent your orishas, your gods, and all of that shit. It's a lot.
Can you tell by looking at a person or just like their vibe, or I don't know how you would say like what they would what kind of thing would be assigned to them, or
like how can I tell who's
because like okay, like for example, like in like when like my experience, like it tends to be like people who like deal with astrology, they can usually look at a person like, oh, you're an Aries, oh, you're like a Scorpio. Is there a similar thing to that but with the saints, or like
so you can, like I said, a lot of people who run under Oshun, we have the jewelry. We're always like decked on jewelry, the hair, the energy, the fragrance we carry. A lot of children of Oshun they're always buying themselves really good perfumes, really good jewelry, taking care of their hair, bringing good energy. They're very like giving to people. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn.
Did this come before you realized that, or
this is how you're born?
Yeah.
And then you kind of see them, and you're like, that's for sure a child of Oshun.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it really is kind of like that. And then there's different ones for like different things. So some are like more creative.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really depends what you're looking at. But yes, like one of them is Oshun. So it's always like the jewelry, the fragrance, the hair, the way they carry themselves.
Yeah. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
So that's kind of how you can tell who's who. Now, how can I tell if someone is part of the religion?
Okay, that's another one.
That's another question. Yes. They kind of have to know. So I could be like, ¿Quién es tu padrino? Mm-hmm. And then they'll be like, oh, it's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, ¿Quién es tu guerrero? And then if they're like, and then you're like, is it Oshun? Yamaya? And if they don't know these people, they're not part of these are like some of the most, because I have bumped into people. I don't want to start drama. But like, there was this one person who was like, oh yeah, I'm part of the religion Santeria too. And then I was like, oh, are you? And then they're like, yeah. And then they like showed me like their bracelets. Mm. And then he was like, look. And it was a Santa Muerte. Mm. And I was like, that's not
That's
Santeria.
A whole different
That's
thing.
a whole other thing. Like Santa Muerte is a very, protective. You gotta be careful with her. But yeah, no, like she's a whole other thing that's not part of Santeria. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of Santeros don't like to work with her because she is Iku. In Santeria, she's called Iku.
What does that mean?
Which is death itself.
Okay.
Yeah. Iku, and it's very bad because she tried killing Orula, and like it's a whole other thing. So she already has bad blood with Santeros. So that's why whenever I see like stupid people like that really don't know, they just want the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, no, it's not like that. Like
basically like the posers you see.
Yeah, the posers.
Yeah.
Which, or maybe just they don't fucking know. But if you're gonna get into something,
you better understand.
You better know, because you don't want to fuck with the wrong person. I know a lot of Santeros are like really nasty. Like that's why they get a bad rep in Mexico, because a lot of Santeros do like to like be wicked with people. Mm-hmm. But no, my madrina's actually very nice. Like she doesn't really like to fuck around with people unless you really fuck with her, and then like it's a whole other thing. Yeah. So
then, what is considered the good and the bad in that religion or spirituality?
Oh God, like the legal stuff that I can mention. No.
Well, it could just be like the morals itself.
The morals, there is no morals. You kind of just have to pick what's good and what's bad. So like my madrina, she really doesn't like to like bring bad energy to like just anyone. Mm-hmm. So like she's really good at being like, this person doesn't actually deserve that. So instead of hurting them, what she'll do is dominate them. So like, let's say you come into my madrina, dude, I had a fucking sincronizada and I had a shit ton of cheese and I can't stop burping.
Don't worry, yeah, same.
So they'll be like, hey, like, fuck this bitch. Mm-hmm. Like, she was my man. That's how it always is, dude. That's how it fucking always is. And then she's like, well, we can do this. Like, we can dominate her or dominate them. And then we can just make them look away from your partner. And that's an easy way without having to break their goodwill. You know what I mean? Well, their free will.
Yeah, when it comes to domination, is it like a spiritual thing you do, or is it just like psychological, or what do you mean by dominate?
I guess as corny as it sounds, it's a spell work. It's essentially what you're doing.
So like, can you like talk about that process or like how it works, or?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends what you're doing, but it can get really gnarly. Yeah. But honestly, as fucked up as it sounds, like it's a better, more like morally right way of like controlling people without essentially like breaking their free will, because my madrina doesn't like to do that. She doesn't really like to like break their free will, because she does believe that that's something that they're meant to keep. Yeah,
that's interesting, because I guess like this is like a whole different topic, but like the whole thing about free will, because I know in some religions they believe in predestination.
Yeah.
And there's other religions where they believe in free will. Where do you stand with that? Have you ever thought about that or no?
Yeah. I was actually having this conversation with my madrina because she was like, I can tell you're not, like, easily controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you piss me off, like, I will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But honestly, at this point in life, I'm so chill with everyone that it's really hard for you to get under my skin.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, if I'm being honest, I'll try to be good.
Mm-hmm.
But don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. That's about it. Does that answer your question?
No.
Oh, what was your question?
I was talking about like the belief in between predestination, like people believing that your life is, no matter what happens, there's faith.
Yeah.
Or faith, not faith. Where your life is, like your path is already set out.
But that's okay.
And there's people who believe in free will, where you actually get to decide
your outcome in a form of way. Yeah. I've always said that's something that we are not capable of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much to it for us to comprehend and fully process.
Which one would you lean more towards then?
There is no answer.
There's no answer.
There is no answer. It's kind of like, well, what is God?
Mm-hmm.
You can't comprehend it and you can't explain it because we're not at that level where we can understand spirituality as such a level. That's why he is God.
Yeah.
Because you're not meant to comprehend that. You're just supposed to chill with that.
Yeah.
You know? That's my point of view. So it's not something you can question it, but you won't get an answer.
Oh, yeah,
you'll get
definitely.
some peace of mind, but it's not something anyone could just be like, oh yeah, like
yeah.
I knew it was that. No, you don't know, because at the end of the day, once we die, it might not even be what you said or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not something that we can comprehend or put an answer to. Is my answer. Does that answer your question?
No, yeah,
okay.
It's a better answer. That and there's also the show I watched. It's really corny. It's a show. Have you heard of the anime JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Yeah, I fuck with them.
It's because the priest or that villain in the newest season, he was talking about like how people would be happier if they knew how the outcome of their life. The way like his power worked, where like you would go through your life, and then in this alternate universe, everything that you already experienced, like your spiritual, like I guess your soul would recognize it, like you know when you're going to die, you know when something's going to happen.
That's so scary.
Would you actually be happier?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Because then you would like have to cherish every moment because you know exactly when it's going to end.
Yeah, and I think the whole point of life is just to fuck with it.
Yeah,
and just enjoy it. And if you want to have a really shitty day and just stay home and like do nothing, fuck with that. If you want to be wild and do that, do it.
Yeah,
you know, because at the end of the day, we don't know when it's the last day. And I don't want to be like, that's the exciting part. But like, you know, that's the point of life, to just enjoy it as much as you can because you don't know when it will be the last day.
Yeah.
Life. Yeah, so, next question.
So, we were talking about it before, where I thought you were like this established person because like
oh my god,
every time
I see like established.
Every time I see like flyers on like all the High Priestess, there's the vendor.
Oh, pronouns, obviously you don't know what to call.
I don't want to get in trouble.
I don't fucking care. So it's not. I don't care.
Okay,
but have respect for people who do care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You can call me he, she, they, them. I don't care. It doesn't make a difference to me because I'm just me. Mm-hmm. Your point of view to me doesn't do anything to me. But for people who do care, have respect, bitch, because that actually matters to them. Me, I don't give a fuck, but they do. So respect that.
I'll go for she for now.
Yeah.
It's like there she is. There's like, all the flyers, and you see your name pop up. You were telling me you actually weren't like you were like recently involved, like what?
Yeah, I just started. Not even a year ago, bitch. Not even a year ago. And honestly, I'm so grateful for everyone who like supports me and shows love. And like I said, even comes and says hi or like shows up. Because I've had some people be like, I didn't want to come, but then I saw that you were going to come. And I was like, might as well go visit them. And I was like, Like, that feels so fucking nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and for a second, sometimes I sit and I'm like, maybe I did need this sort of vibe. Because obviously, being at the flea market, like, all my neighbors are fucking like 30, 40, 50. And like, I loved it because I did gain a lot of knowledge from them and a lot of like ways to like essentially pass judgment without being judgmental. You know, like, I guess taking an opinion and like really understanding it and then making a move out of that, if that made any sense. But like, yeah, just being part of the scene, it really like opened all these doors that I really didn't think would be possible for me. So I'm really grateful for all of you guys.
How did you find it out of curiosity? Because to me, it always seemed like you have to know the right people in order to find a scene. Otherwise, you will never find it.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure. So, like I said, I started at the flea market. I ended up creating an Instagram for my business. I never had it, never wanted to. I did it because a lot of my customers were like the younger ones. They're like, hey, do you do pop-up markets? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? What is that? And they were essentially like, oh, it's like a glorified flea market. And I was like, that seems gross. No thanks.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm being honest, I was like, that seems really fucking whitewashed. Like, no thanks.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, stop by. Like, a friend of mine's going to be vending at, like, Love Buzz. And I was like, dude, I don't drink. I don't smoke. Why would I go to Love Buzz?
Yeah.
And then my little brother was like, oh, my friend is, like, going to one of those. Like, can we go? And then I was like, yeah, of course. I guess we can go. So we went, and I went to Love Buzz just to, like, walk around and see, like, what the vibe was. And I was like, business me was like, there's a lot of people buying here.
Yeah.
And not everyone has my shit. Because a lot of them are just crystal vendors. I'm like, fuck all of them, dude. But I was like, oh, yeah, like, no one really has my stuff. I can definitely, like, make a name for me here. Well, not even make a name. Like, in my head, I was just like, I can make money here. And I started doing, like, the more... I call them artsy-fartsy markets. Yeah. Like, I'm talking about, like, downtown McAllen, Alyssa's Acres, La Cultura coffee shop. Fuck them, once again. Like... when they were on 10th Street. Like, I was doing, like, those $40 vendor ones. And I did Love Buzz, their last, like, big market that they had before, like, City of McAllen had, like, a big issue with them or whatever. Well, just with vendors. With vendors in general, yeah. And I was like, I gave a bunch of them a try. I was like, not making enough money. This is not worth it. And then, I don't know who or what it was that I had... God, we're going to talk about something I don't want to talk about. People I don't want to talk about. You
don't have to name names. You can just
I know. Fuck you. No. Can I flick off the camera? Are you going to blur it out? Are you going to do like that, like, cool, like, censored?
The only time I ever censored anything is when people are saying names that they shouldn't have said. And they
I don't give a fuck.
Stuff like that. Other than that, no, I don't censor.
No, yeah. Okay, love that. So... I don't know how it happened, but I remember it was the art market with, what was his name? God, La Pulguita Nocturna. I don't know their name. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got into that market. It was a art market at 707. And I was like, this seems a little different. I think the vendor fee was like free or like $10 or some shit like that. Yeah. And I was like, well, fuck it, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna do anything. I could just go. And I love working, so I was like, okay, cool. So I show up. I meet this one specific person, and I was like, hey, I saw this person, right? And I was like, nah, this fucker's gonna be a vendor too. So I was like, hey, like, are you vending here? And they were like, yeah, I'm vending. So then we kind of just... The person who organized the La Pulguita Nocturna, they never showed up, dude. They showed up till like fucking 10. And like, I was like, okay, like, I'm going to sit here, you're going to sit there. And then other vendors started showing up. And I kind of just like took over organizing like where people went. Because the guy didn't show up till like 10. Yeah. And no, shout out to him though, because like he's cool. I like him. I think I've only met him like 3 times, but anyways, yeah. And then I met this person And then I met Aqua Media Creations, Corey, and Momo. Love them. And then I met this person, and then other people. And then I became friends with this person, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, he was like, oh, there's going to be this other market with their friend who was Vintage Worm. And I was like, he was like, oh, there's this other market. And then I was like, well, try to get me in, I guess. Because I didn't know anyone in the scene. And I got in the scene. Well, I got into that market, right?
Yeah.
Vintage Worm, ever since I met him, he was always like super chill, super supportive, super nice. He was one of the first few people who like kind of gave me a spot. I don't know if because he wanted my $10 for his like the vendor fee. But like he gave me a spot in like the scene. And honestly, once I stepped into the scene, I kind of hated it. Because everyone was super like, ew. You know what I mean? And in my head, I was like, do y'all hate me because I'm a flea market vendor?
Was it that or just like the stuff you were selling?
Well, I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. And everyone was a dick to me. Everyone was like, oh, like no one paid attention to me. No one wanted to like talk to me, anything. I only had that one person who I came with. So they were, at the moment, they were like one of my closest friends. And like, I mean, respect to them, but like also fuck them.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And yeah, then after that, I just kept doing markets with Vintage Worm. And then I was supposed to do an event with Sauce House. And then I bailed on them.
Oh, okay.
I didn't show up because I was like, what the fuck is Sauce House? But now I love them, obviously. And then I think I was supposed to do another one that I was like, hey, can I like vend? And they were like, yeah, for sure. And then I bailed on them again.
Was there like legitimate reasons or like just stuff?
No, happened? I just had shit happening. Like, I'm very professional with what I do, but I think during that time I wasn't really taking market serious because I once again I had that weird feeling that people didn't like me. Oh, okay. Like I was just kind of like, well, they're not gonna fuck with me anyway.
Yeah, you don't feel welcome. Like,
I'm not talking about Sauce House. I'm talking about like vendors in general. There's a lot of fucking shitty ass vendors. But you know, it's just kind of like that. I was just kind of like, well, no one's gonna like me anyway, so like, what's the point of me even going?
Yeah.
And Sauce House, after Vintage Worm, I think Sauce House is one of the first ones who really showed like support and like was like, this person's cool. Yeah. And like, honestly, like, love them.
What makes, I guess, like a good venue for you? Like that actually, like how can a venue, I guess, show you support compared to like being shitty?
I mean, talking to you.
Okay,
coming up to you and being like, hey, like, how are you, this and that. Like, really asking to see, you know, how are you, get to know you, you know, feel the vibe and all of that stuff. But, yeah, kind of, Sauce House is one of the only few ones who did that. And then I was doing 707, and then I was doing Vintage Worm and all that sort of stuff. But, yeah, Sauce House and Vintage Worms were kind of the few where they were like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Are you doing good sales? Coming up to you, talking to you. And yeah, like actually getting to know you. And then I guess after I started getting, I guess, customers, friends, making friends, you know, getting to know people, that's when I guess people turned their tail on me and they were kind of like, oh, hey, how are you? Like, it's a High Priestess. Oh. I don't like that. I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. Yeah, I get you. And yeah, that's kind of how it started. Like, people didn't fuck with me, and I guess now they do.
Does it ever feel weird? Because, like, that happens sometimes more, like, I noticed it, like, after high school, like, certain people, like, once they find out about you, like, oh, so you're this person now.
I don't think I've ever met anyone. I guess I've bumped into them at the flea market, but, like, do they know me as a High Priestess? No. They kind of just know me as, like, a vendor at the flea market.
I guess I should have clarified, like, once, like, you started, like, becoming popular, like, people who weren't talking to you before, now they start talking. That's what I meant, because, like...
Dude. Like, yeah. This person has been really nice to me lately, and I'm not calling you out, but, like, I remember what you said. So one time I was at 707. I'm going to give you some tea. I was at 707. I'm not, like, I don't think you're a shitty person. I'm just like telling people what happened without telling your name because I don't think their name is necessary.
Yeah.
I was vending at. I had an event at 707, and this person was a vendor there. And they were like, I was like, hey, is this spot taken like next to you? Because I mean, we're vendors. Like, let's just set up next to each other so we start the line. You know what I mean? And you know, we have a flow. And they're like, oh no, you can take the spot. It's fine. I was like, perfect. I love that spot. So I took that spot. I set up my tent. I set up my table. Not the stuff, just like the frame.
Just the frame.
Yeah. And they're like, can you scoot over? Ugh. Even though I had given them like 6 feet of space, which is more than enough. Yeah. And they're like, it's because I have a crowd. And I was like, dude, no. Yeah. Shut up. No. Anyways, I moved because I was like, well, whatever. Like, okay, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna bicker. Like, it's fine. So, like, si me agüité. Si andaba de como que, like, dude, no mames.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then now I feel like there has been like an increase of like people like fucking with me, like being like, oh yeah, like the High Priestess is gonna be there. Oh, as stupid as that sounds. So now this person recently came up to me and they're like, oh, I saw your post, like I think it's so cool, like this and that. And I was just like, thanks.
Yeah, I get you.
And then they've been talking to me recently and like I have like no ill will towards them. Like I'm like sliding off this like super comfy couch.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Thanks. And yeah, so now they're talking to me. I mean, I fuck with them. Like I have no like bad bone or like something against them. And like you can message me and be like, hey, I'm sorry. Like I don't do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
Just be like, I saw it. And I'll be like, okay, cool, but don't make it weird.
I guess the next question would be like, without naming names or anything, like I don't want to just get you in any kind of weird trouble, but like, what makes a good vendor versus a bad vendor?
Oh, I have a list of bad vendors.
But I guess
what makes them bad?
The better thing would be to deal with their traits because names can always change, people can always change, new people come and go, but the traits will always stay.
Yeah. What makes a good vendor? Long hair, long nails. No, I'm kidding. What makes a good vendor? Showing up on time, being thoughtful of where you set up, how you set up. Like, if you have 3 fucking t-shirts, dude, don't bring 5 tables. Like, you don't need that much space, dude. That space that, like, another vendor could take up that actually needs that space. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you remember, I used to bring 2 tables filled with merchandise. I just started bringing 1 table because that's kind of, I toned down my inventory from the flea market to pop-up markets. I just take what I know people would be interested in. So, I dim it down, and that allowed me to use my 10 by 10 tent to like have another friend with me in that same tent so we don't take up more space. Yeah. So recently I've been having Conchita Morena, Moonlit Mommy, like people that I really fuck with in my tent. That way we don't take up that much space. So, having an idea of how much space you're going to take, showing up on time, being genuinely nice to people. Because I feel like that's something that like a lot of vendors lack. They're so stuck up, especially these fucking vintage people, dude. Dude. They're like, I sell vintage t-shirts. And I'm like, dude, I know. I saw you buying it from my neighbor at the flea market. Like, chill out, And like, yeah, that's kind of it. Being prepared when it comes to like, oh, you know what I hate? When they bring out a tent and they don't have weights for it and it's like a windy day. Ooh. And that shit's fucking flying everywhere. I'm like, dude, at that point, just take it down. Take it down, it's a hazard. Yeah, take it down. You're going to hurt someone. Bringing water, which is a basic thing, like especially during like summer times in the valley. Like, yeah, bring water, bitch. Oh, yeah. That's about it. Being on time, being genuinely nice, having water, weights for your tent, having a good setup, having change is not really that big of a deal. It is kind of an annoyance whenever people take my change. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. I don't mind a lot of the times. A lot of the times I will have like $100 of change, so I don't mind. But once it's like constantly, it's like, dude, come on, come prepared. You're here to work.
You're a vendor, yeah.
What makes a bad vendor?
I guess the opposite.
Anything that's not what I said.
Yeah, the opposite, basically. More or less.
Yeah, it's a good and bad vendor. What else?
Guess.
Come on.
What should people realize about vendors that people? I guess what would you wish people knew about being a vendor that people don't know about? Because let me give you an example. Like when it comes to being a promoter, people just come to the shows and they have a great time, but like they don't see all the work behind the scenes, the negotiations and stuff. Like how do you know like what stuff you're gonna sell? I guess when it comes to your inventory, how much to bring. Like how do you like think about like what's your mind? I guess basically when it comes to vending.
So what I wish people knew for vending.
Yeah.
I guess it depends though, because there's vendors like me who do treat it as a job and who do treat it as an obligation, and like we do work really hard, and then there's vendors who like barely even promote, barely even put their part. They show up like a fucking like 3 hours late. They leave early. Like it really like depends on who we're talking about. You know,
I guess from the customer standpoint, like what do you wish people knew about?
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you know about me. I don't know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's like I want to speak for all vendors, but then you have vendors who don't even fucking try. Yeah. So there's times where I'm just like, man, why the fuck do we have to pay like $40 to get a sorry? Yeah. And I was like, why the fuck do we have to pay like $30 to like vend at this event? Well, we're also bringing in promotion. And then I see other vendors who like are part of like the vendor lineup, and I'm like, dude, these people don't even fucking post anything. Yeah. And like lately, this is where I'm gonna go off rail. Okay, go for it. I have been organizing vendors, like the vendor lineup, for a couple of shows at 707. I did this past Sauce House vendor lineup, and then the one that's coming up, I did it too. But the thing with that is like the vendors that I do bring up, I mean, we have this group chat. And I'm like, hey guys, try to promote as much as you feel comfortable, but like try to promote. Yeah. You know, because that is. It helps everybody out. It helps everyone out. And like my ideal like promotion is essentially like 3-4 times. No, 2-3 times a week. Depends. Yeah. I think that's fair. I also don't want to be annoying people and being like, guys, I'm going to be here, guys. Yeah, no. So me being like, I guess like the organizer for the vendors lately, we'll see how far this goes because I don't know. I'm going to be vending. No, I'm going to be organizing vendors. Hopefully a long time because I am enjoying it. Is it more enjoyable compared to being a vendor yourself? Fuck no, dude. It's a fucking hassle. These vendors are fucking ruthless. Like, and these are the ones who don't even want to promote. Like, dude, no te pongan los moños. Like, straight up. Yeah, no, it's just... I've been organizing them. It's fun, but a lot of them don't want to promote, or they just promote like last minute. And I'm just kind of like, I want to be able to like, you know what I mean? Like I want people to take vendors more serious. Yeah, but some people make it harder. And then people make it harder. So I'm just kind of like, dude, come on, work with me. And then honestly, after that, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to book you as a vendor anymore because you're not listening. Yeah. And like, I can't have that. No, yeah, definitely. I mean, people aren't pulling their weight. Yeah, major. Like, there's times where, like the 707, I was going around. I was like, hey guys, just make sure you're not like taking unnecessary space so we can have. Because I had 22 vendors at 707, and I think you can fit 22 vendors, but it's gonna be a mess. Yeah, like you really have to like make sure everyone's in their spot. And I was like trying to be like super chill. I didn't want to piss off vendors. I was like, hey, like, you know, can we like scoot over, like try to fix yourself a little bit, this and that. And then like 4 of them followed me and like removed me. And I was just like, dude, chill out. And they didn't listen at the end of the day. Yeah. So I'm just like, dude, like I'm trying to organize it so where there's a flow, there's a way of people like going around every single. So we have our spots, you know. But I don't know, they're hard to work with. I'm trying.
No, I feel. I work with kids, and it's the same thing.
Stop. No.
It's the same thing where like you want the best for them. You know, like what you're trying to do, and
Yeah.
it's
and
the
then
better
they
for
take it
everything.
the
But then
wrong
some,
way.
but they don't like listening, and they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, I'm trying.
I really am. I like it. The people who I have been working with at Sauce House, they're the vendors.
Mhm.
They're honestly super good. I am trying to bring more faces to Sauce House and like more events. Like well, I've only been doing 707 and Sauce House. And I am trying to bring like newer faces because I feel like it's always like the same lineup. And even at one point, once I feel like there is newer faces, I kind of do want to take a step back out of like the vending and just kind of like organize them. I mean, I still want to vend, obviously.
See, you are established. You're the organizer now.
I just think it's so corny being like, I'm established. Or like,
well, you don't have to say you're established, but
I
like,
know, but it's so you know.
you're the one in charge now.
Thanks. I try and I work really hard.
No, I mean it only happens through hard work and trust where you get into these kind of positions.
Yeah. No, for sure. And
yeah,
I am really grateful for whoever does see me in that point of view and like does have that sort of respect for me, because I really do try to carry myself and I really do try to be chill with everyone. But of course, you know,
you can't please everybody.
You can't please everyone. So at the end of the day,
I guess that would be like really good advice for like. It's because sometimes I fall into the pit where I try to please people because like I deal with so many people and I don't want to get in trouble because stuff happens and I'm like, hey, I can only do so much, and then something happens and I'm like, I get blamed for it. I'm like, hey, it's not me, it's somebody else. And then
oh god, we're not gonna get into that.
No, I'm not. But it's just like it's a whole. You can't please everybody.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, no, you really can't.
Yeah, and you shouldn't try to, because.
But then again, I also can't be like, oh yeah, you can't please everyone. But no, you really can't, dude. And
I literally can't.
You can't. It's so annoying. But I mean, I've tried being a good person. Like I told you earlier, like if I see you from a distance, I'm not trying to be a dick, but I already have a point of view in you, and I'm not interested. Like, and it's easier for me to just be like, hi, how are you? And then like.
Has it ever like I wouldn't say backfired, but like have you ever had like a judgment where it came out wrong?
Hardly ever.
Huh?
Hardly ever.
For reals?
I think hardly ever. A lot of my friends have like they trust me with. I'm like, dude, this person's a psycho. Like fuck them. And then they're like, really? And I'm like, for sure. But honestly, before people are like, oh, you don't let your friends talk to him. No, my friends can talk to whoever the fuck they want. Like I can talk to whoever the fuck I want. Like even when I'm like, oh, fuck this person, and they come up to me and they say hi, I'm not going to be a total dick and ignore them unless I really don't fuck with them. Yeah. But, like, I'm just going to be like, oh, hey, hi. That's it, you know? But, like, if I really don't fuck with you, like, I'm just going to be like, I personally don't fuck with them, dude. But honestly, if you feel like fucking with them, go for it. Just, and then later on, they're like, dude, they're fucking crazy. And I'm like, I fucking told you, dude. Yeah,
the reason I said that is because, like a lot of judgment happens to me where like people think I'm mad all the time because like on my face.
You do have a really bitchy rude face,
and that's why like when it came to like when I was working in Home Depot, a lot of customers were like, that guy's always angry like when he's helping us. I'm like, no, like that's how I look. And it got to the point where the managers of Home Depot would tell the customers like, no, like he's not mad, he just looks like that.
He just has that.
Yeah, he just has that face. And even like one of my friends, they got me a shirt where it's just like, I'm not mad, that's just how my face looks like. And that's why like I try to be nice.
I also have like.
What they call people call it like the resting bitch face. I think that's what they call it.
Corny.
Yeah.
A lot of people do feel like I have like a serious face, but lately I feel like I have been working on it, and I feel like a lot of people at the flea market, they watch half of the interviews just like this. No, a lot of people at the flea market, I have like multiple customers. They're like, you just have such good energy to you. Like I love you. Like I love come visiting you. This and that. And I have this one specific customer who always visits me Wednesdays and Sundays all the time. He doesn't buy anything, not that he has to, but he just comes and like he's like, dude, I just love being with you because you have such a good energy. Like you have such always happiness, this and that. And I feel like a lot of people do sometimes get intimidated by me. Yeah. Or I had the situation with this one. This might cause drama. Okay. But I'm not naming, so if you do decide to come out on your own, you can come out on your own.
Yeah, no names.
Yeah, no names, literally. This was my issue with this person. Like, I met them. They were completely just like, I love you. Like, I think you're so cool. Like, they were just way too much. And I was like, dude, like, we're
Tone down.
yeah, like, I was just I was overwhelmed. And then, like, inside me, something was just like, no, dude, fuck this person. Like, don't talk to them. And the event ended. I took the decision. I was just kind of like, no thanks. Yeah, no thanks. I removed their follow, and then I removed their follow from me. And I was just like, I don't want to start drama, because I also knew I was gonna be with them eventually. And after that, they were like, this bitch blocked me and then unblocked me. This bitch. And honestly, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that serious. I really wanted to, like, just be super chill about the situation and just like, hey, I don't want to associate with you. Like, I'm just gonna remove you. You know, I'm not even gonna let you follow me, because, you know, some people are like, oh, he doesn't follow me, or he unfollowed me and I'm still following. I feel stupid. So then they get that anger. But that's why I removed I removed my follow and their follow. So it's a mutual thing. And they completely blew it off. And yeah, like, after that, I feel like they blacklisted me from one host. Yeah. And I haven't been able to work with them so weirdly, even though they're like, hey, we're having an event at 707 and we only have like a few vendors. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, I'm here. Can I be a vendor? They're like, oh, all vendors are booked. And I'm like, oh, weird, because 707 can host like 30 vendors, but okay. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's me being a little problematic. I kind of do like the drama, but also like, fuck the drama, you know? I get you. That's why I try to just like back away from it, just because like some people try to like drag you in and like, no. I wonder if I'm going to get canceled after this. I haven't said anything bad. If anything does happen, I can just censor it. I've done that for many people. And I know you have. Don't do that for me. I stand by what I say. And, yeah. Whatever you want. Yeah. I always leave it up to my guests. I mean, watch, I call you crying. I'm like, can you censor that? No, I always try to make sure my guests are comfortable, like, when it comes to speaking about that stuff. Like, I make sure to take care of everybody, because, like, I don't want anybody getting in trouble over weird shit. Yeah, for sure. Like, honestly, I've always been like, dude, I say what I say, and I'm not even bringing up names. You know what I mean? I didn't even bring up their gender. That was very much like they, them. So, like, if you want to come out about it, bitch. Just don't say anything about the podcast. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, just don't bring. Well, don't bring me in. Yeah. Well, no, he has enough on his own plate, guys. Yeah. No. Yeah. Like, I'm honestly trying to get out of that like drama, but I want to be like, I'm over it, but like, it still irks me clearly because I'm bringing it up. Yeah, something obviously, something will rub you the wrong way. It rubs me the wrong way because I've never been like, when I took that decision, I was just kind of like, dude, it's chill, like, we're done, you know, like, nothing crazy, and it just got blown up into this whole thing, and even up to this day, I'm just kind of like, yeah, like, I see this person, I'm like, stop. Yeah. Guys, man, like, it doesn't have to be anything, like, we're together most of these times, like, I even unblocked them now that I'm like organizing like vendors and shit. So it's just like, dude, I understand your circle. Like, be chill. Be chill. Yeah. But can we all get along? Nah, fuck that. Nah. There has to be some drama in life to like enjoy a good life. Yeah, that's true. Makes it exciting. I like seeing it, but I don't like being involved in it. That's pretty much it. Like, it's like a novella. Yeah. Sometimes I do like. Nah, I don't. Do I? Honestly, who cares? You know. Yeah, at the end of the day, besides the point. We'll all be dead. Yeah, surely. Oh God. How do you feel about dying? I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of dying. I fuck with that. Yeah. It's scary. No. Well, it's scary how you're gonna die. Cause like, am I gonna drown? Oh, I thought you were telling me, I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, no. No, I can't. No, but like, yeah, like the way of death, that's also the scary part. Like, you never know. So spooky. Any other question? What are my plans, ambitions? Yes. I guess that'll be the own. Oh, really? No, I was just shooting at it. It is a good, natural question. What are my plans? Oh, like vending wise at pop-up markets, I have different plans for different things.
Do you ever see yourself just becoming a person who organizes? Because you're already doing that kind of on a small scale, but like when it comes like pop-up markets,
well,
would you ever
I actually posted on my story. I was like, hey guys, how would you feel about me hosting like an event for my birthday at 707? Because I feel like I'm at a good point where like, well, who knows after this interview?
You'll be fine.
I'm sure I will. I haven't done anything bad and I haven't mentioned names. Yeah, I was just kind of like, how would you guys feel about me hosting an event at 707? I mean, clearly I have communications with vendors.
You have a lot of organizational skills.
Yeah. And then I have a lot of like bands who I really enjoy listening to. Like before, when I kind of showed up to the scene, I was like, damn, I only listen to Lana Del Rey.
Yeah.
Like, this is different. But after just sitting there while people ignored me because they didn't think I was cool enough, like, I started listening to these bands and I was like, damn, these people are fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like, what's their name? Oh, I really fuck Lunar. I fuck with Lunar Heart, dude. Oh my god. I'm a big fan, but like, yeah, that's it. I'll leave it at that. I am a fan. I love their like 2 songs on Spotify.
Yeah, I think they had more songs, but then they took it down for whatever reason. And
boo.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I met them. No, I haven't really met them. I heard them at Bummer Shed.
Yeah.
Fell in love with them, dude. Fell in love with them. Well, her. Well, them, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a band.
Yeah,
I fell in love with them, dude. Their songs are so fucking good. And then obviously everyone's favorite, the Dolls.
Yeah.
I love them. They're so sweet. They're super supportive. I know whenever you reached out about the interview, I was like, who can I message?
Yeah.
And then I was like, guys, how do we feel? Like, give me some pointers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were super sweet, super supportive. Like, I've even had a couple of conversations with Alex where we're just talking.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, love them. Love them. And then who else do I fuck with? Oh, that Monacy or Monacy metal.
Yeah,
dude, they're fucking good.
I haven't gone to like that
You're
part of the scene.
Missing out, dude. I heard them first at Vintage Worm. Dude, they're fucking good. Like, I don't know what instruments they play or whatever the fuck, because I don't know about instruments, but I think it's like drums and like guitar.
I'm the same way. I don't understand
I don't know,
music.
which is like the basic instruments.
Yeah.
Dude, they're fucking good. I love them. Who else? Obviously, Disease Freak.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to any of his songs, and then he posted not too long ago about like something about Spotify.
Yeah, I think
SoundCloud. And then I was like, I guess like I genuinely think he's such a cool person.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Carlos are like really, really fucking cool. And then I was like, whatever the fuck, I'm just gonna download like SoundCloud and like listen to his shit. Maybe I'll like it. I was actually listening to his songs all day today. Like, dude, his shit's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Who else? I think that's it. I mean, I like the basics. What's his fucking face? Opium? The ones you had an interview with them.
Opium?
The beginning of time, and then they were like, oh, something about land. You had an interview with them. Let me go into your profile.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of opium.
No, I probably have it wrong.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
Yeah, I do. I'm a fake fan.
How do they look like?
The fuck is your thing? Oh, Joe. Joe Martin.
Yeah, Jose Martinez.
Principium.
Yeah.
I like to listen to them a lot.
They're great.
And I think the fact that I like it a lot because like me being a vendor, I usually get in for free now.
Mm-hmm.
So like I get to enjoy all these shows. And dude, a lot of them are really fucking good.
There's a lot of good bands now.
There really is. There really fucking is, dude. I loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess honestly, I'm only a true fan to those because those are the only ones I remember at the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's other bands where you listen to them and you vibe with them, but like sometimes remembering the names, not stuff.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, but I genuinely love those. Those kind of would be like my ideal picks for like a band.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's kind of mid, whatever, but those are kind of like the ones I really enjoy looking at. And of course,
they're good.
Me being selfish, and it's my show. Oh, obviously, I would love to have them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of my ideal band setup. My ideal vendor setup. I'd just be like all my friends.
Yeah,
Obviously.
obviously.
Yeah, love them. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean.
Oh, my aspirations, bitch. My aspirations. I want to keep vending. Last year I was really grateful because Valley AIDS Council gave me the opportunity to like go be at their Pride event at the beach, which was such a really cool thing. Yeah, it was really good and I did amazing. You see, that's why I wanted you to cut this off.
Yeah, don't worry.
Hi, baby. So yeah, Valley Aid Councils gave me such a huge opportunity to go to the beach and like vent with them in their Pride event. That was a really, really big thing with me.
How did that go?
It was amazing. It was really fucking good. The vendor fee was fucking crazy, dude. It was...
Was it worth it? That's a big question.
It was really... it was like... no, it was like 10 times what I like made. Really fucking good. I want to do bigger events. I want to redo the livestock show because whenever I worked for the lady, she did the livestock show. And I remember one time she took like 40 grand, dude. Yeah, bitch. We're not talking numbers. Yeah, she did great.
Yeah, I get you.
I just want to do more like big events.
What are other places? Because I guess the stock show is a big event, but like what other events?
I would like to kind of branch off and like do like San Antonio, Austin.
Oh, okay.
Because like I see vendors who do San Antonio, Austin, and like Corpus. I know that's one of them. I'm like, that's so cool. I kind of want to do that. But then I get so nervous because I'm like, what if it's a flop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I don't want to sleep in my car. You know, like...
No, yeah, that's what a lot of bands do.
Well, yeah, but like... my car's comfortable. But like, still, you know, obviously, like, I want to make sure
you can cover the...
Yeah, cover my
accommodations.
Fees. Yeah, my accommodations. So... Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know. That's kind of... Organize more vendors.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe organize an event. I love organizing vendors. I think it... Especially at Sauce House.
What makes it so fun?
Giving other people opportunities to like showcase their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something I really want to focus on because... I mean, I'm not saying Oscar and Leo are doing a bad job.
Yeah.
But I always see like the same kind of lineup. And I have respect for them, which is like Dead Blush BB, 37th Universe, me, obviously. Like... I see all these people over and over again, which is great. But then I always see other vendors who I feel like have potential to be bigger than what they are. Or have at least the spotlight of Sauce House. And I kind of really want to like do that. So hopefully they keep letting me. Not that like now they have to because I put them in spotlight. But hopefully they do want to.
Like these new vendors you're finding, are they from like other scenes, like other shows in the scene, or like they're
No, they're not even flea market. Honestly though, I've seen a lot of vendors move to flea markets. Not that I did that, but I've been seeing a lot of vendors like do like artsy fartsy markets, and then they move to like the flea market too. So it's like anime people, a couple of vintage people. I know Chronos. I don't know. Don't hate me. I don't know his name. But I know he has like a vintage store at the flea market. And from what I've heard, he does really good. I haven't had the opportunity to like go visit myself because obviously it's just me and it's a lot.
Yeah.
But I have really been wanting to go visit and see his stuff. But I think there's maybe like 10 or 15 like vendors that now move to the flea market. And I think that's a great move, dude. Like
that's where you're going to make the money, yeah.
Well, I guess it depends what you're selling. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's better and a lot cheaper.
What would be the differences between like selling at the flea market, the shows, and then like the pop-up markets you've been doing? Like how do you like traverse each I guess area or whatever you want to call it?
Well, the amount of money you're making, obviously. I know some vendors do really good, but I personally do amazing at the flea market, which at one point I was just kind of like, oh, do I even do markets anymore? Like, I feel like, but that's when people didn't like me. Another big difference is kind of like how to set up. Because at the flea market, obviously, you pull in with your car, you just park in reverse, you open your trunk, bitch,
And
you start selling.
Yeah.
You start cashing in. And then before I had my little fucking cart, bitch, I had to fucking carry like 4 boxes. You think me with my long ass nails, full face of makeup, bitch, I was sweating, drenching, and then I had to set up and then sit there for like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was not the vibe. And then I got, obviously I got my big ass cart now. I tone down on what I'm selling. Like, I only bring the stuff that I know for sure will sell. And then when you do like big events like the beach one, obviously you have to go all out. Like you really have. When I did the beach one, hopefully they let me again. Hopefully you guys let me in again. Yeah, you just have to be like at the top of your game, dude. Cause
how do you do that? Everything. Like be at the top of your game. Like what do you mean by that?
Making sure you have enough inventory. The minimum amount I have of an item is at least like 12 pieces, a dozen.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no like lipstick on your thing.
I can.
Okay, great. So like that big event at the beach, right? I took 3 dozens of each item: the bracelets, the incense, the pendants, the statues. I had a couple of like big quartz trees from Mexico. And somehow like I still managed to sell everything.
Wow. Yeah.
I went home with like, I think like 2 boxes of inventory. Thank fucking God, dude. I know. I was so happy. That's why I kind of want you guys to accept me again. And then I toned down that like, I mean, flea markets though, you have to be at the top of your game too. Because my competition there is fucking ruthless. And these bitches like to do brujeria on you. So like, you gotta be fucking next level. Especially in Alamo, dude. Like, there is a lot of competition. Like, I know at pop-up markets, a lot of people like to be like, dude, you're so original. But it's not even originality. It's just like, dude, this is what you don't see because you don't go to the flea market.
Yeah.
Like, there is a lot of competition over there. Obviously, it's traditional stuff that's, like, sold by Hispanic people for their children to protect them for, against negative energy, all that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
It's interesting.
The vibe. Probably didn't
I didn't even no, yeah, you did. But like I didn't even know like there's like this like I guess cutthroat competition between.
Yeah, there is no competition at pop-up markets, which is why probably people love me.
But at the flea markets.
But at the flea market, no, I still stand out a lot. I a lot of people.
Do you know what makes you stand out? I don't want to get. Well, actually, I don't want to.
Like me.
I don't want to give it away. You're.
No, I mean I can give it away, but I think a lot of the time is me being me.
Yeah.
Like me just being at the flea market, full face of makeup. They don't see that often. Me making sure my shit actually looks aesthetically pleasing in the table. Like I think a lot of people lack on how they display stuff, and I always each time I'm with my friend. I don't know. I don't think it's kind of irrelevant. But yeah, like, no, like, she's always like, hey, like, can you, like, help me organize it? And I'm like, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, and I move stuff around for her. And it looks better. Like, it's just how you're setting up, too.
So presentation and personality.
Because I can sound like some bullshit thing. But if I'm, like, well presented, it's going to sell itself. So.
Yeah. What about, like, the demographics? Because I'm pretty sure you're fine?
Did she leave?
Yeah, she left already.
I thought she was watching me. What a bitch.
She was getting snacks and then she left.
I know.
What have you noticed? Like, what's the difference between the demographics? Like, obviously, you're gonna have like older crowds at the Pulga and other areas. You're gonna have like a younger crowd. Is there like a difference in their buying habits and like what they're interested in?
Yes and no. I guess it's in the sense of like what they're using it for. But everyone's always buying the handmade bracelets. It's really a big seller. Yeah. Spiritual waters, obviously, for protection, for money, for luck, for love. Everyone wants that. Incense, it really depends because some people do. A lot of my customers, no, it's like a 30% buy incense for the fragrance alone. And then the other 70, they buy it because they're trying to keep their place cleansed. And the bracelets, honestly... It's like a 50-50. People just like the aesthetic of it. And then the other one is because it's like, hey, that shit worked for me. And a lot of my customers do come back because they're like, dude, it really fucking changed my life. And I'm like, dude, it's not that deep. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like pop-up markets, I try to take the more like aesthetically pleasing stuff, kind of like the pendants, which I haven't restocked. I keep lying to you guys, and I'm like, I'll restock soon, but that shit's expensive. Like, it's really expensive to like stock up. I mean, you have to keep in mind, I have to buy minimum for pendants like 30 pieces.
Oof, okay, yeah.
Of each material. So if it's like the little mushrooms, those were big sellers. So I have to buy rose quartz, green aventurine, amethyst, carnelian, black obsidian, just like 6, 7, maybe 8 different ones times 30 of each.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And that's just one style. So like, let's just lie and let's say they're $1 a piece. 30 times 8, whatever that is. You know what? You know what I mean? Plus, bring out 3 other materials. At the end of the day, I'm paying like $700. I think for me to bring out the mushrooms again, it's like $500. Which, yeah, obviously I'm gonna like quadruple my fucking profit. Yeah. But, bitch, it takes a lot of money to run this business. You know. But no.
How do you know like when to like rotate against your inventory? Like, okay, like this is not selling. Let me try this.
So we'll take that like the spiritual waters, right? Okay. I brought 3 different ones. I brought the For Everything, Money and Luck, and then the Love one. I thought the Love one was gonna sell a lot, and it sold. I came out with 30 bottles of it. I still have 4 of them available. So if anyone wants to buy them, come buy them. Go buy them. And then the green one, which is the one for everything, I think I've sold like 120 bottles of it in that same amount of time. And then the clear one, which is the one for money and luck, I think I've sold 30 pieces of it. So like
the full inventory rate.
Yeah. So like you can tell that the rose one isn't really selling. So even now I'm hesitating. It's like, do I even restock on that? But then I do have like 2 customers who are like, oh, I love the fragrance of it, so I am going to come back for it. So then I'm like, okay, is it worth investing just for those 2 customers? It's a really hard decision. It really is. But I don't know. Sometimes I do just restock for that specific person. But that has to be like a true client, like which is mostly my flea market clients. So it really depends. You kind of have to be like, well, I have to look at the profit margins and be like, is it even profitable? And yeah, that's kind of how I decide. Is it profitable? Is it selling quick enough? So like something like sage, that's another thing. Like recently, well, standard price for sage is $5. But I got a really good deal because I bought all those pieces. So I dropped it to $3. And I dropped it because, yeah, people were buying it at $5. But with something like sage, Palo Santo, it loses its fragrance. It loses its that like strong sage Palo Santo fragrance. So that shit needs to be sold quick. It's kind of like weed. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you got to move that shit quick or else it's just going to stay there, lose its fragrance, and that no one's going to buy it. Yeah, no one's going to buy it. So that's why I decided to drop it to $3 while still making a ton of profit. So, you know, and that essentially kills out all the competition because everyone has it at $3 and no one's really buying it at that crazy amount of quantities. Yeah. It's just me because I'm fucking crazy. So, yeah, it's kind of just picking what's profitable, what is really selling, how you're selling it, how quick you're selling it. So, just make sure you're keeping an eye on and seeing what people are really interested in and also like promoting it. Like you always see my spiritual waters lately on my thing and I'm like, hey, this is great, this is that, blah blah. And then I love it when people like also do share it on their stories because sometimes I'm like, it is a lot of like spiritual stuff is very personal, so sometimes I'm just kind of like, you don't have to share it. But then they're sweet enough because maybe they don't want it to be spiritual, they just like the looks of it. Yeah. So then they'll share it and then, you know, it really does make a difference. It's promotional. Yeah.
How do the waters differ? Like, how do like is it the source where they come from? Is it like the a spiritual like ritual they go through, or like how does that work?
Yeah. So it's just pee. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean it really depends. The quality of it, where you're sourcing it from, how you're making it. Like it really depends. So.
But like to get like the specific attribute to it, like we said, like there's one for like love.
I actually. So like the green one is kind of like what I've been using since I was like a child.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have, it's kind of, what do you, I don't know if you like smell that Yerberia fragrance. Mm-hmm. Well, usually people smell it on my booth, but that's that same water. Mm. And I've been using it that whole time. And then ever since I walked into the scene, people were like, what is that smell? And then I never told them because I personally, if I'm being quite brutally honest with you, I didn't want anyone to like colonize it the way they did with like white sage, because now it's like a white people thing.
Yeah.
And like Florida water, I know it's like like it has some like indigenous roots, it has some fucking like voodoo roots to it too. Mm-hmm. But it's like mostly like colonized as fuck, and like people are just kind of like, oh, Florida water. Yeah. And I didn't want that to happen to my spiritual water, because that would really piss me off. Especially all these like whitewashed crystal people who are like, oh, I sell crystals. And like, yeah. Like I didn't want to get a hold of that. I didn't want them to get a hold of that. So that's why I kind of just, I wanted to like, I guess, relabel it. Yeah. Yeah, keep it to myself for a very long time. And then once I realized that this is something that a lot of people are really interested, and I really just wanted to keep it at the flea market within the culture. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, damn, this is a really like good seller, and like there is a lot of profit in it. And then it kind of opened the doors to it, obviously, because I have an Instagram and I have to be promoting my inventory, and people were interested in it at markets, and they were like, why didn't you bring it here? And I obviously I was gonna be like, why didn't you want you know what I mean? Yeah, I get you. So I was like, maybe I should. And I really sat down and thought about it, and I was like, well, maybe if I don't use its original name. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I will fucking curse you if I go to like a whitewash store and they have that water because of me, bitch. Because no one uses it. Everyone who I was like, oh yeah, it's this, they're like, what the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. No one knows about it. I'm like, I want to gatekeep, bitch. Basically, so what? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Not me getting like all riled up now. Yeah, no, but I will be really fucking pissed off if I see that shit somewhere else, because it is a more indigenous thing to use. Like, it's very deeply down south who uses it. And I feel like I would be really pissed off, not only at myself, but whoever is selling it, because I know damn well you don't fucking use it. You know what I mean? Maybe that is a little selfish, but whatever. I like to protect what I like.
How do you know the difference between a person who's like actually interested in it versus someone who's just like, oh, let me just get it? Is there a clear like distinction?
You don't know until you kind of see how they use it and what they're using it for. And like, so like that water, it has such a signature fragrance. And like a lot of them, they're just, which, yeah, you can use it as like a perfume essentially if you want. But they'll use it more for the aesthetic of it, not for the purpose of it. So whenever I do spray it on myself or my money, I use it mostly on my money, on my table, on myself. Like, kind of that's what I use it for. And then you see these people who now kind of like glamorize it as like, oh, this is like so exotic. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, like have some fucking respect for it, dude.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Because I seen that happen with dating, where a person like, oh, I'm dating this other.
Oh yeah,
like it's so exotic, and I'm like, I cringe when I hear that stuff. So yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of how I see who really is enjoying it in a form where they're actually benefiting. Yeah, whatever. That's happened. Like I have this one lady who bought it from me, and like she was like, dude, like this is actually like really helping me, like, you know, and yeah, she'll post it on her story and she'll tag me, but you can really tell that she's doing it because she is a firm believer in it. And then you have these people who like do these like artsy videos with it and like put candles around it, and they start buying like the whole line for no reason, and it's like, you don't even know what it's for. Like, you're glamorizing it for no reason. You shouldn't. Yeah. So it's the difference. Okay. That's how you really do tell the difference. And I mean, my flea market people, they're like super like, whoa. They're just firm believers in it. And I'm really grateful for that. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Because I always got curious about that. Because like, obviously there's going to be people who are really into it. You're going to have the posers, and you're going to have other people who are just like, just aesthetic.
Yeah, but who knows, I guess.
Yeah, it's up to them. It's not up to you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I am providing a service and a product. So as long as I'm getting my cash in. But not the buses.
Yeah,
you know?
that too.
Yeah.
You gotta respect it.
Yeah, surely. Especially with spiritual stuff. You really do have to have respect for whatever you're buying, whatever you're believing in. It's not just an aesthetic, so.
I guess before we start ending it, there's two last questions I need you to ask people. What?
What are the questions?
The first one is, what advice would you give for people who are just starting off vending?
Oh, that's cute. Have fun with it. Be genuine. Like, really do believe in your product. Even if it's like a fucking, like, random bracelet you found on the floor and you cut it up and turn it into earrings. Like, that's still fucking artistic. Really believe in your art and what you're selling. And don't put yourself down if you're not selling. Because, I mean, obviously, imagine if I did. And I was just like, well, these people don't like me, so I'm just going to stop.
Yeah,
Like,
it would have been a whole different path.
Yeah, no. And, like, yeah, just really believe, as corny as that sounds, just believe in yourself.
Again, there's a reason why all these cliches exist.
No, for reals. Just believe in yourself. Like, really focus on your work. Be, like, professional at vending as much as you can. Like, you don't have to have, like, a fancy-ass, like, canopy. You don't have to have a fancy-ass table. Like, you don't have to have a register. You know what I mean? Just show up, sell your shit, have a positive mindset, be nice to all the rest of the vendors, because that's what a lot of people fucking lack.
Yeah.
And yeah, just be cool. Yeah, just be original. Just be you. I mean, obviously, like, I'm not one to, like, wear, like, thrifty clothes. I'm like, oh, like, you know what I mean? That's not my vibe. But I was true to myself, and at the end of the day, people really fucked with me, and I didn't really have to change myself for that. So it goes to show that you know, just be yourself.
And people like you for who you are. I mean, that's the best thing you can ask for.
Just be yourself, and if vending is what you do, just fuck with it. Yeah.
The last question is,
so corny.
don't worry about, like, this stuff is corny, but, like, there's a reason why it's called, like, internal truth, where it's always going to apply. There's a reason why it exists.
Yeah, truly. Second question, sir.
What was your favorite part of the podcast?
None. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, I enjoyed the whole thing. I love talking to people. I love it when people get to know me, because I feel like, yeah, people do, like, talk to me and get to know me at the markets, but they don't really, like,
see
have
who you are.
Full-blown conversations. I think I've only had a full-blown conversations with, like, a handful of people, and legit maybe, like, 5.
Yeah.
So, like, it is nice for, like, my shit to, like,
get out there.
Yeah, get out there, get to know me. So yeah, hopefully I didn't piss off anyone. Hopefully. No, honestly, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for watching. Not me ending it for you.
Yeah.
No.
I guess the last thing you can do is, like, you can plug in your, like, your social medias, where people can find you, your flea markets and all that stuff.
They know where to find me though.
In case,
okay, yeah.
In case there's new people who will find you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the High Priestess. I only have an Instagram, so it's the highpriestess.rgb. And then I usually post where I'm going to be fucking around in. So,
yeah.
Like,
so the best place to find you would be Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. Fuck with me there. Get to know me. Say hi. Yeah.
Right.
No thoughts, just vibes.
Just no thoughts, vibes. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.